My name is Hardeep. I work for horizontal integration. I work as a DevOps engineer. So I've been associated with Sitecore for the past almost more than a decade. I've been doing the work for implementing Sitecore along with some of the best talent that you see. I, Bijesh, Varun, Alo, a lot of people that I've been working with the backend. So whatever work I do, this guy takes the credit. But anyway, team part of, and I'll be working along with them. I've been trying to push my way around to the technical world. The Sitecore is presently developer side. I just having a discussion with Gaurav a few minutes before we started the session. There's an opportunity for the people a bigger platform, because since with the cloud, it's becoming more integrated. Earlier we were only working in the back end of working with the physical servers or with the virtualizations. But with the cloud platform, whether you're doing it on Azure or whether you're doing it on AWS, it's becoming more and more engaging to work as a team. So I'm here to share my experience of how we do it on Azure. Sitecore obviously provides you a great way of implementing using the ARM templates on Azure. AWS is a little bit different because that's still on the VM side. So presentation that we are seeing today is, though we have tagged it as the for the Azure side, obviously you can do it with the AWS EC2 instance. So, but we are only focusing on Azure DevOps as of now. But whatever we are trying to achieve here, that can be done with TeamCity, that can be done with the Octopus deploy. Obviously, TeamCity from your build point of view and Octopus deploy from a release point of view. Since Azure DevOps gives you, it's a Microsoft product, integrates well with the Azure platform as in cloud, much easier to work around with it. The product still is in early days because it was recently rebranded from VSTS, Visual Studio Team Services, to Azure DevOps. So the look and feel remains the same, but a good platform to play around with it. The best is coming, delete everything and see by the end of the session whether we are able to rebuild everything from the scratch or not. When you deploy Sitecore on Azure, sometimes there are little delays in terms of creating the resources. So it ends up in 30 minutes. Otherwise, you will get what you see on the screen for now. You'll be able to see some of them being created, and we will see that it is working in the background. Before we go ahead, let's simply create the resources, and then we'll start. So keep on happening in the background. Hopefully, it will take 10-15 minutes in the background to delete all the resources that I have created temporarily, and then look into it. So we have started the delete part. So we will talk about deploying Sitecore on Azure because cloud platform is becoming more important, automated way of doing it. We do it on the virtual machine more. There are less people doing it on AWS compared to the Azure, because obviously the ARM templates are available. That's why. We'll also talk about the Azure DevOps as a product because it fits in very well with the the integration with the ARM templates. We'll talk about a little bit from infrastructure as a code because it's important. This time I've started to ask that deploying my Sitecore in during my site, I will record as well, how we do it, because in the future, if I have to do it myself or my engineer needs to do it, I need to have it available. So we need to talk about just a little bit on infrastructure as a code too, and then finally we'll go through the demo part. Okay. That's me. I've been working with HI for the past 6 years. I've been in the industry. This is my 20th year. I've been associated with 4 years. Some of the places that you can get in touch with me. Sitecore is something that I maintain along with Bijesh. Bhamra.com is started and outputs of the entity. Sitecore on Azure. So we all know there are templates available. You can download from an existing skill point. You can run your PowerShell code and you can get it up and so I've been playing around with it. Initially when Sitecore came on the cloud, we used to go and do it on the cloud, but that's not the ideal way of doing it. If you really want to have the power of cloud, you need to work along with the ARM templates. If you try to do it in the manual way, that gives results. So we will see a little bit of an template in the demo that we are going to be talking about. Because there are components related to the web apps, app service plans, SQL words, and usual databases, the application insights, and a lot of other stuff that we do it when we work with the cloud side. Everything is readily available with the case. If you simply want it up and running in about 45 minutes or so, you should simply download it from the site for download and playing with it, and you will have enough XP scale running in 45 minutes. Again, be mindful, sometimes Azure as a platform is a little slow for some different reason. So you might say, okay, it took me about an hour to do it, whereas in general, the time about 45 minutes. So if you have not customized it, then customized in terms of, say, for example, we talked about the SXM module. If you want to integrate that SXM module, implement it, then obviously the time will change and the others as well. You can also customize your ARM templates. For example, you say the default XP scale gives you a 1 CM and 1 CD. I'll not touch upon the other app services that we talked about. But if we talk about the default XP scale, it will give you 1 CM, 1 CD. And you say, hey, I want to deploy 2 CDs in 2 different geographical regions because I want to have a redundancy or an availability, right? Obviously, there needs to be some sort of a customization that needs to be done. So infrastructure as a code becomes very important point in that situation, because ultimately, end of the day, you want to make sure that everything is being delivered to the client in the best way possible. So those customizations will take their own time. Okay. Learning experience, obviously, when you work with ARM templates and on Azure, the templates there's a little bit of a change when you're working with 9.0, when you're working with 9.0.1, they're working with 9.0.2. So the ARM templates keeps on changing a little bit depending upon what are they coming up with new in the application or in the Sitecore wall itself. So there's always going to be a learning curve involved when you work with the ARM templates. Okay, that's the Sitecore ARM templates that we're talking about. So every version will have a parameter change. Okay, we talk about 9.0.1, there was a parameter, something else changed, and then in 9.0.2, they come up with a couple of more parameters. So you cannot have the same ARM template. The whole world remains the same, but then there are parameters and variable changes, so that you have to take into considerations. And at the end of the day, it is fun. We are all learning, we are all growing. So I look at it too that way. Okay. Azure DevOps, it's all similar to the things and the world is moving towards the automations. What we need to understand is that CI and the CD part is the most important thing. The buzz in the market, continuous integrations and continuous deployment. But when you talk about continuous integration, we're only talking about from a development perspective. It's all perspective, right? The people are working, the backend developers are working, the front end guys are working, and you're integrating everything. But the chunk we miss for now is the infrastructure side, okay, which is also going to be important. If you and your company have not already started doing it, I'm pretty sure in the nearest future your client will come back and say that, okay, the solution looks fantastic, okay, you have done this great implementation of Sitecore, and then you have multi-region setups done and everything, but what I want to have is, where's the code? Show me the code, right? And then you give them the PowerShell and the ARM templates is not the nice way of doing it, okay? When you're doing the CI and CD part for your solution, for the Sitecore solution side, why aren't you doing it for your infrastructure as well, right? So let it run through your build pipelines and the release pipelines, right? When you work on a bigger solution, I'm sure there's not going to be one person involved in it. When you work with the ARM templates, if it's a very limited scaled down version, one individual is good enough to work with it. But if you're doing a good enterprise implementations of multiple CD environments spread across different geographical regions, doing the scale ups and settings and a lot of other stuff, right? You will have a team working on it. So when a team working on it, you need to follow the same method that you're following for the solutions. Okay, you need to go through a build process. The build process needs to be successful. It needs to be continuously integrated, and similarly, it needs to be continuously deployed. So before I go any further, I just want to ask, other than my own team, because we know that we work on it, does anybody works with ARM templates, Sitecore ARM templates? Has anybody got any experience? Okay, no, fine. So that gives me an opportunity to explain a little more on that, because see, what happens is that when you're deploying an ARM, okay, and when the ARM is deployed, you have solutions available. CM and CDs are available on the Azure side. But what if you want to change something? I realized I named it incorrectly. The CM should have been named something else, and I named it incorrectly. Okay, what do I do? I delete everything and recreate everything. let's waste of time. You don't really doing that, okay? Or probably you want to change the web tiers. Earlier it was V3, and I don't really want V3 web tiers. I want little scale down version of it. I don't want a 3.5 gig buffer available because I'm only in the dev environment and I want a little scale down version of it. So I would say let's go to the V2. When you go to the V2, do you want to delete and recreate it? That's not the way to do it. Okay, so the ARM templates help you in doing that. The ARM template will say, okay, here's the V3 section, just simply replace it with V2, rerun the solution, and it should scale down. So that's the beauty of it. So that is how we should all be doing it. You can have the base platform readily available, and as you keep on working and keep on finalizing your complete solutions, you can make the changes in your ARM template, and that should be able to help you with. Okay. There's a word called as idempotent, very widely being used in the industry, which means repeatedly getting the same experience every time you run the solution. So every time you run the ARM templates along with the, doesn't really matter which CI/CD you're using, but it should give you the same experience, right? If I'm working on it, if I give it to one of my team member and tell them the way it needs to be done or the way it needs to be ran, they should have a similar experience, right? Sometimes we, as backend developers, there's a saying that work on my system doesn't work on your system. So we keep on saying that, but idempotent is it meaning itself is that doesn't really matter which system you are doing it. The experience needs to be same for everyone. The result, the final result, also needs to be same for everyone. We'll also go through the Azure DevOps look and feel, and then again fun. That's always going to be there in my slides because without fun, you don't learn and grow. Okay, we'll go through that for now. So I'll try to see. Okay, you see everything has been deleted, so nothing is there. Somehow I have to switch this. Let me stop presentation. Okay. Right, so you can see right there in the beginning of when I said we wanted to delete everything and everything has been deleted from this resource group that I created, just named it randomly. No meaning of why do I call it as that way, just I didn't name it again. You can also see that I can clear it out with it. There were a lot of releases which I failed and there's a recent release that I succeeded. And for a lot of research I was doing on it and trying to play around with the ARM templates because I wanted to run it in a certain manner. So this experience that I've had, at least not having around with it. Okay, I would say that I failed 30 times, but then I would have succeeded. At the cost attempt itself, but it's just a lot of raw R&D. In the initial you can see on the 24th number also, right? So I was successful and then I kept on playing around with it. So what we do here is that very pretty simple. Okay, we'll go to the setups and then we'll see how we have set it up here. Azure DevOps is something to obviously use the post available there. So what you can do is that you can have your solution available, you can have your release pipelines, you can take a code and say, JSON ARM templates that I created are all successful. Run some tests along with them and see if they are successful, integrated, and finally deploy it. Also, open the repo, you get a little more insight. It's a very small solution, should not be difficult to understand. This is one step. Here's the visible. This is one step. Very simple one step of running the process. Okay. Let's try to scroll down. Alright, that is what we are doing. Okay, now a lot of good stuff here put it into the variables and what to do, but focus on the most. Let me put everything here and we'll. Right. So what we have done here is that here's the ARM template that you would see. Okay, and what we have done is customize a little bit. Loading. Is it probably I don't know, but it should load pretty.
Definition of the setup that we want to do.
It's provided by Sitecore, Azure Resource Manager. When you work with Azure, there was classical way of doing it, and then about an year and a half or 2 years ago, Azure changed its way of how the resources are being created and managed. The classical way was we used to call it as the service managers, and the resources where you call them the resource managers. It's a better way of organizing your resources within Azure. When you're creating the resource on Azure, there are multiple ways. You can create it through the portals as well. You can create it through the JSON templates. Sitecore provides you the JSON template. You don't have to do nothing. Just simply download those templates. Make it the you want to, the naming convention that you want to use it, and then you simply run it. You can run your local machine. You can run from any other CI/CD tool that you want to, but it's pretty simple. So I don't know if you can work with that. So it's like a viral file. It's actually yeah. So JSONs are basically key value pairs, very easier to understand. It's an organized structure of how you want to create, because in Azure, okay, there are app service plans. Okay, app service plans are basically how much CPU, how much memory, how much storage and stuff like that. And in the ASP, which is app service plans, you create the web apps. So there are going to be dependencies as well. You can't have the web apps before the app service plans, right? So the ARM template provided by Sitecore will run in a defined hierarchy of saying that this needs to be available first, then you do this, and then you do this. For example, yeah. So it is largely divided into two segments. One is to create the infrastructure, another is to deploy the application. Right. So you first create the infrastructure and then you deploy the application. All right. So this is probably going to, for some reason, let it run. Okay, and we'll try to simply create a release here and see what I'm saying. So Docker is containerization as we know it, but what we are doing is that using the ARM templates, you can put it on the Docker. That facility is yet not there available. In the near future, we know it that Docker is going to be the important part in the future releases, but it's not there yet. The ARM templates, you can certainly work with the Docker as well, but for now the ARM templates are only limited to two areas: the cloud, and other is the EC2 instances that we go and deploy to. So the virtualizations part and the actual cloud where the part from that we call about, right? So hopefully in the future we'll be working with the Docker. Okay. So what we'll go and we simply go and click on release. Okay, so I get a release run it. And what it runs, I can see this guy if it has worked or not. Right, so for some reason that file is taking time. It's a very two lines of file, and I'll try to go through some of the others. Let me try to see opens. Could be, but then if it's a connection, then it should not open. So I don't have it in locally the repo available. That's why. Sorry. Try to download from the local. Let's see, this one opens that. That's specific. Just to answer, hopefully this file will come back quickly. The infrastructure JSON. This is where you actually that. So this one opens quickly. So you can see this has been divided into a lot of things. We start from the variables, where like API versions, or the naming conventions, the servers, a lot of other stuff. Okay. So this, I have not read a single line. Everything is being provided by Sitecore. I'm only providing the values, the keys, and everything is only providing the values to it. Right? So this is for your variable sections. Then you keep scrolling to some resources where the actual action happens. So if the server farms, 225, it is Microsoft.web server farms. Okay, this is where you create the app service class. And within the app service class, you have the web apps available and it continues to run. I really will show you the install script. Okay. So this is deploying infrastructure for me. In my load times started to work. If I let's scroll back a little bit on. Check the deployments. So it is said it is started deploying the infrastructure here, right? It's deploying. If I go overview, probably I'll see a couple of resources already created here. See that? Right? So beauty of it, right? I don't really have to run it in a manual way. It's the click of a button. I'm setting it up, and it's going to take off my time, but then I give the access to Junior and say that here's the instance that he needs to go. He should be able to get all done. It's a great thing working with this Sitecore template. Makes it much easier. Obviously, you have to set it up for the first time, which takes a little bit of time. After that, it's all great in time. The changes that we've the only one change that I have to make really is that because since you not work with templates, in case you have the URL in certain cases, not everything is being extracted from the business. You need to have a web URL as well provided. So you go to the GitHub of Sitecore, you take one of the file references and give them the URL, and that should be done. So it's pretty simple. It takes first minute. You need to upload your license file, everything goes into the storage account, and from the storage account you create the URLs, and then everything is auto-created to the JSON, and that's how we get it up and running. This will take more time in the backend to run, but every time we click it up, we will see that it's creating the resources. Right? So if I'm giving a message, check it out that fail. If it has failed, it's a fail for what reason? Okay. Since you also want to know at what stage I'm creating the infrastructure, whether my application is being deployed, because unless you are running it in your PowerShell in the host mode, then only you will get to know what stage I am. Otherwise, you will simply just hope that it will clear in 5 minutes or in 1 hour. So, working with the Azure use benefits, like I said, this infrastructure is being created. I can will go inside the infrastructure and check at what level is being done. First time, I change my data I can I don't really get those kind of questions a lot of times. See, you can customize the way you want to. Okay, if you take simply download what is available with the Sitecore and try to run with it, and your data infrastructure and you can data and everything, and you get a default Sitecore homepage. But the question that you ask is that what if I only want to deploy the infrastructure, I do not want to deploy the application, right? You can do that. What if you want to deploy, I mean, you already have the infrastructure, I don't want to focus on that, and I now deploy the application. But then there involves the customizations of these Bhamra templates, right? Which means that you'll have to spend some time disintegrating what is available, maybe focusing on the inner pattern there, saying that okay, this resource is already available, and yeah, they are available. Okay, do you want to redeploy infrastructure because it might be a possibility that you are changing the tier levels. If you're scaling it down or you're scaling it up, right? You can do it. So that kind of it can give you insight of saying that okay, now you can say okay, I'm allowing Azure iPhase, I'm running the SQLs, I'm deploying SQLs in the backend. We go back to the resource, we say, okay, right now, let's go to the overview. Right, so you see that it has started deploying the SQL server. Earlier, SQL was not there. So it takes a little time, but at least this is the way you do it every time, same way. Every time you try to run with it. That's why we call it these splits as identity. Because it's important for us to have a every time. Find a situation if a client comes and says that, oh, fantastic, you're done the job of deploying the infrastructure, the job of giving me an application as well. Tear it down and give it to me. Right? You will have to find the engineer who actually deployed your infrastructure. He's asking, okay, have you had this on my head? All right, fantastic. Come and sit with me and show it to me how it has been now done, right? But when you do CI, if you're doing the CI and CD population, why aren't you doing CI and CD population? You should be doing it. So this is a very simply implemented. I mean, going forward, we know it Sitecore is, adding a lot of integrations, adding a lot of new things to it. SXA, we talked about it, and SXA is something that we will be integrating into the GSM. By default, it is not available. But if somebody comes and says that, how have you done your infrastructure? Okay, I have done my infrastructure done in this way, something else has been done in this way. I don't think that's the right way of doing it. We want to automate everything needs to be collaborated as one and deployed as a solution. So that's the good thing about it. So this will keep on running back. What I did for 30 minutes because see, it started reading the data. About 40 minutes or so, you will have your XP single when running XP scale about an hour. So right, so that's I will have I will have more time to see this file has opened. It is not. So so as I open it, I will stop down on this. Yeah, but I hope it downloads pretty quickly so we can show it to them. Fantastic. We'll save it. This also set up the application so that in the database the setup as well. Yep. So at the end of the we'll have application also open. Yeah, blank site called Sitecore that you read. So the only change that we have made is that I wanted to have you see here the log result contain Sitecore for an XP single because it's an XP single implementation. So this is the only external URL that I have to integrate as part of the ARM template requirement because we have the main master Sitecore template to be integrated from an URL. It still doesn't allow you to run it from a local machine. That's design. But showstopper, I can put it in variable, I can hard code it for now, I am so that you can see it. So that's pretty much the system will keep on running in the backend and you will have a Sitecore up and running in whatever time that it takes. But I think I still have few minutes, so I'm happy for any question you have related to implementation. Questions? So if I understand your question, you are trying to ask is once we have Sitecore, which user for logging into Sitecore or application talking to the database, what are we talking about? Right. Right. So we don't touch upon that in the default ARM templates. There are two we talk about when we do the implementation of Sitecore. One is the admin user that going into the Sitecore, and the other user is application connect database. Steps that you're talking about are the steps once the application is up and running. We're not defining it in the default and we cannot have it in the default templates of saying, okay, I want to have this available once the Sitecore is up and running, or I want to have you can have a separate nested JSON or nested PowerShell script to run, it becomes part of the customization. For example, I say I'm doing the external implementations, I have 10 users available. User 1, 2, 3, 10, I want to have 10 users available. You can run separate PowerShell scripts to do that, but it becomes part of the customizations. Right? In the default, that what I've shown it to you is simple Sitecore implementation, either by XP single or by XP scale from a CI standpoint of view. I'm not, when we started, we all started from from the local machine of implementing Sitecore, but I'm not a big fan of doing this anymore because you work on a lot of projects at the same time. You have different solutions. Any individual in the ideal manner in the business will have two projects to work upon. That's how you divide your timeline, and that's where you get the best return of money as well. So you will have two projects, right? And you have two solutions to work with. Now, when you're doing that, you want to have your code really in a organized manner so that you can work with it, you can play around with it. If there is something that wrong happens, you can put it back. So I think the CI/CD way of implementing Sitecore, okay, and the related modules is the best way to move forward. That really gives you the power of the CI/CD tool. Everything else that you do it yourself, you have got through the JSON template being done manually. Now, when you start doing it manually, you are prone to errors. So, when there are fantastic tools available in the market, why don't we use it, right? And for example, using PowerShell, and we are trying to run to the PowerShell, you have to make sure that you're first logging into it. Second, make sure that you have the permission to create the resources. Third, you need to make sure that you are doing it in the right region. And 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 parameters take care of it. So getting into the CI/CD tool doesn't really matter what you're using. If you're using the it will give you the same results. If you're doing it to the Azure DevOps, it will give you the same results. Only choose to do it with the DevOps, it integrates well with the Azure as a platform. In our organizations, we are not doing anything manually these days. It's all out of the scope now. We need sure that we're using CI/CD way of doing it, and that's how we will keep on continue doing it. In the future, you talk about the Dockers containerations. Kubernetes is the future we talk about, and pretty soon in about another year or half or two at max, I think we'll be working on the Dockers. I've started seeing the blogs coming out in the market, working on site Dockers. An implementation year and a half ago, and it was challenging time, but it was a single Docker implementation, not the orchestrated way of Kubernetes. You do it multiple Dockers in the backend, and it's not that way. It was just an in-house testing that we wanted to do it. Okay, we were successful with it, so we got a good idea about it, how it needs to be done with the Dockers, and that's what the future is going to be. We all need to keep on learning and evolving. And one thing, when I'm doing that, I'll try to take the power of the tools already available in the market. I don't really like to, redesign the wheel. If it is already available, why not just somebody has worked overnight to deliver, take the benefit of it and do your best job. Right? So that's about it from my end. This will still keep on running in the background. If you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer. Otherwise, I'm done with it.